After half sleeping my way through the day, the final bell rings and everyone begins to shuffle out of the building. Normally, this would be my cue to head home as quickly as possible to maximize my anime watching and video game playing time. Since I joined the club, I'll be staying after school for the first time in... well, ever actually. I haven't really been interested in the idea of spending more time in this building in the past, but something has scared me recently? Huh. Perhaps I've had an innate love of all things literature my whole life and never know. Well, that was quick. That was quick. I did write a poem last night. Perhaps this is my first step to becoming one of the literary elite. Spending time with a group of gorgeous girls may have something to do with it as well. I head to the hallway where the club room is and head on inside. I'm the last one to arrive, though not by much apparently, as everyone else is just starting to get their stuff out. Might as well come back. Monika walks over to me and flashes me a friendly smile. Happy to see you, it didn't scare you off. I put on my coolest smile and stand just a little bit straighter. Why would I be scared? I don't see anything in here to be afraid of. Quite the opposite, really. Very thankful, Yuri. Thankful that you appreciate me. I notice Yuri already has her face buried in a book. Maybe it's my imagination, but I swear I heard a soft giggle come from her direction. Dork. Very Natsuki. Natsuki, on the other hand, makes sure her comment is just about audible. I get the impression she still isn't happy I'm here. Wait for episode 3. I wonder what I did to make her dislike me so much. Because we're the opposite gender. That's it. We're just a boy. Monika seems generally amused, but is otherwise unaffected by my attempted compliment. Glad to see you're feeling comfortable, Midas. We tend to take things pretty casually here. Usually we take time to read, then we'll get together to discuss what we are currently reading as well as the different types of literature we enjoy. Today I think we'll share our poems during our discussion time. You did remember to write a poem now, didn't you? Of course! I mean, it's not much better than a few random words. They kept the 20-word system. Great! I'll look forward to reading it. That makes one of us. Midas! I'm guessing depression is one of those 20 words. That sound means I have a split second to brace myself before... I'm so happy to come back! Sayori dime bombs me with a huge hug. Hello, Sayori. Air! I need air! Sayori disengages her voice-like hug, giving my lungs and ribs a chance to recover. Sorry, I was a bit excited. Guess I got a little carried away. Yeah, carried away is kinda what you do, Sayori. So, do you remember to write your poem? Yeah, was just telling it to Monika. For a certain definition of poem. Anyway. Yay! See, Midas? I knew you'd get into club activities once you joined one. Now you can learn to do something other than games, anime, and Sayori! We don't need to discuss my downtime activities here any more than we need to discuss yours. Huh. What about my downtime activities? That was kinda out of the blue. Well, like setting your room on fire for once. Ow! Like I've heard the kitchen, but her room? Midas, not that. Okay, I'm curious what happened. Wait, so you set a room on fire? This I gotta hear. It was just a little fire. Sayori got a glass ornament that she decided to hang in her window. It was a pretty butterfly. It had so many pretty colors and each wing was as big as your hand. Wow, that's pretty big. Well, her room was pretty messy, like always, and the sunlight shone through the glass just the right way to catch a stray piece of paper that Sayori left on the floor. Wow. Well, that small fire had a lot of things around it to spread to, so we almost had a big problem on our hands. Luckily, Midas managed to move enough stuff out of the way so he could stamp the fire out. My hero. That hits different considering it's Sayori. By the way, what are the voice lines about the kick and lick? I'm pretty sure that I didn't mute this. Let me just stop that to max. So, when will that start? Like, when will that show up? It wasn't that big of a deal, like you said. Anyway, after that, I'd come over at least once a week to help Sayori pick up so we wouldn't have a freak accident like that again. We also moved the butterfly to my desk. Sounds like it's never a dull moment between you two. Maybe Literature Club will be more eventful with the both of you around. You two. Midas saves you from a fire. He helps you with your chores. You two are practically a married couple. Mr. Mr. and Mrs. Sayori. Does that mean that Sayori is our last name? Is that it? From the corner of my eye, I catch a glimpse of Yuri peeking above her book. I'm not totally sure, but she almost looks worried. Okay, I'm kind of implying that all 3 episodes will take place in the same continuity, same timeline. Did she question mark? Hey now. I don't know if I'd survive the experience of being Sayori's. Yikes. Yikes. It's gonna hurt her. Hey, you meanie. What? Sayori sticks her tongue at me. Well, Mr. Sayori, I guess you need to discuss some stuff with your wife. Can you bear to be parted from her for a while? Come on now, stop! You're hurting her! She's all yours, Monika. I hope you survived the experience. Meh. Sayori tries to stick her tongue out farther, but all she winds up doing is straining her face. You can't go all Junko on me now, Sayori. She and Monika head to the front of the club room to discuss whatever they need to. So I guess that means I'm supposed to read something now. If we're supposed to read something, are we going with Natsuki? Please? Everybody eventually settles down into what I assume is their regular routine. As it turns out, Yuri had... Ooh! Nah, cool! We're reading with Yuri! Yuri had brought me a copy of one of her favorite books, which we are now reading together. Which book is it though? Oh no. It's a horror novel. Which I wouldn't have expected from a girl like Yuri. But I guess appearances can be deceiving, right? And I know what Sayori meant when she said Natsuki and I would have a lot to talk about. Natsuki likes manga! Who would have guessed? I don't know. Granted, the series she likes isn't one I'd normally find myself reading, but I guess I can afford to branch out. This is a literature club after all, and manga is literature. So for my first full day at the literature club, I read a chapter of the novel and a bit of manga. Aww, it would have been cool if we've seen Yuri's novel and whatever Natsuki's reading. If ever in the case that it's different from Portrait of Markov and Parfait Girls, respectively. I think I just did more reading in an afternoon than I did in a month. After Yuri's novel and Natsuki's manga, I'm pretty beat. I don't really understand why reading would burn me out. It's not like I was exercising while doing it or anything. But thinking about why reading wears me out just wears me out even more. So stop thinking. Exhausted, I plopped down in one of the chairs close to the front of the classroom. As it turns out, Monika and Sayori are discussing club matters not too far from where I am sitting. I decide to listen on their conversation. So, I think that's the problem. People are interested in the literature club because it sounds pretentious. We need to convince people that we aren't a bunch of stuffed shirts, and I think this festival would be the perfect way to do cool. Festival will take place. Alright, so we need to come up with some fun activities for people to enjoy. That's right. Do you think Natsuki would be willing to do something manga related? How? We could probably attract some of the anime club members that way. No, not at all. Maid Natsuki. It's enough that she shares her manga hobby with us. Natsuki isn't comfortable sharing with anyone else. Well, I'll definitely understand that. I want the literature club to be a safe place for people to be themselves. If we do not force Natsuki to reveal something about herself she wasn't comfortable showing others. I've been there myself. I really hope that we do get a Monika route, and I'm gonna talk a bit about Blue Skies later on. Why don't we have her bake something instead? It's something she'd be happy to do. Sayori, that's a great idea. Once we get people here with food, we'll need to find a way to speak to their creative minds. Cupcakes! Well, speak to the creative minds with cupcakes. No, we'll speak to their creative tummies with cupcakes. Sayori. Then we can have a stage set up for people to recite poetry. Maybe we can start reciting our own poems. Sayori, that's a wonderful idea. I've gotta admit, I'm a bit surprised to hear Sayori getting into this. I figured she'd do this literature club thing, then get bored and drop it. But she's taking this pretty seriously. I'm really impressed. Here I am, this unmotivated slacker, and Sayori's planning a festival event. There's a lot more to her than I thought. Okay, about the Blue Skies thing, in that mod there were trails, traces of Monika's possible route, and they even have the tidbits of Monika's route, so if ever the people behind Another Moment With You is watching, I do hope that it's not just traces, we'd get a fleshed out Monika route. I'm not saying that Blue Skies was a bad mod by any means. I mean, I made the video about it, talked about it. So, if you're interested in what my thoughts are in the mod, check that out. iCard will pop right about now. I wonder what else is there about her that I don't know. Trust me, MC. It's probably best that you know ASAP. As I begin to wonder what seeing the world through her eyes would be like, I slowly doze off. I open my eyes to find Sayori's face filling my vision. I nearly fell out of my chair. Sorry. Wait. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. It's your fault for sleeping like that. This isn't a napping club. Does our school have a napping club? You're staying up late again, aren't you? Now that you're in a club, you're gonna have less time for anime, you know? You'll need to get used to it. Don't say that out loud. I glance over my shoulder to see if Monika overheard. What's so embarrassing about liking anime? It's true though. Yeah, I know. You're always looking out for me, Sayori. It's what I knew best. You better look out for yourself too. Yeah, but what about you? Exactly! You're still up for sleeping every day, aren't you? Eh? Not every... The point counts. The point still stands. That's not very convincing. How many days this past week have you gotten up on time? If you're gonna ask me... No! That's... It's a secret. I knew it. Come on! At least give me the benefit of the doubt. Aha! Come over here for a m- What are we doing? Come over here for a minute, Sayori. Eh? I motioned Sayori over to a corner of the room where the others can't see. What are we doing? Were you in a rush this morning? Maybe. I lowered my voice so the others can't hear. Sayori, you look like you just fell out of bed. That's not a very nice thing to say. You're making her upset. Your hair is a mess, your blazer is on, but then you have a toothpaste stain on your Jeez, Sayori. You could have at least been a bit more careful with the toothpaste. But nobody would ever notice that. I just did. I let out a sigh. I just did. Let me see what I can do. I tried to wipe off the stain with my finger. That's in there pretty good. I saw a commercial where about these special pens that get stains out. Maybe we can get you one. Not taking any headway there, I give up and run my fingertips down to the side of Sayori's hair trying to straighten it out. Too bad I don't carry a brush. My hair is just really hard to get right. You have arguably the shortest hair among all the girls, Sayori. If we're talking about hair to get fixed the hardest, I think Monika or Yuri's would be that. Right. I straightened Sayori's hair the best I can and even managed to straighten her bow. Why would you need to fix her bow? It's alright to me. Okay, your blazer should be buttoned up as well. It's too much trouble to button it. Oh come on, it's not that bad. Let's see how it looks buttoned, then maybe you'll change your mind. I start to button her blazer from the bottom. This is so funny. What is? Well, I was just thinking how weird it is to have a friend who does these kinds of things. Eh? Well, it's only fair you spend so much time concerned about me. I guess I should return the favor. It's okay though. I'm happy we're like this. Aren't you? I guess. Hey, be careful. The button might come off. Why is this one so... I catch myself finishing that question. Insinuating that a girl's clothes are too tight might be hazardous to my health. Your testicle health. I struggle to fully close the button near her chest. What are you smiling about? It means my boobs get bigger again! I don't really get the pride of girls with their boobs getting bigger. Is it the same as with men with dicks? I'm not really sure. I'm not touching that one. Ever. Yeah! Not the best choice of words. Looking back at it, yeah. Not the best choice of words. Anyway, you look much better now, so... It really does strange to see Sayori's blazer buttoned up like that. But it's so stuffy! Then buy, like, can't you buy like a size bigger than your uniform, Sayori? It's not worth it at all. Sayori hastily unbuttons her blazer once more. That's so much better. Sayori puts out her arms and twirls around. I sigh outwardly, but I have to stifle a little laugh. Alright, you just be you, Sayori. Just focus on trying to wake up a little earlier. Only if you focus on getting to bed earlier. Fine. It's a deal. I guess we really are better at taking care of each other than we are taking of ourselves. you gotta take care of yourself too, Sayori. So maybe you should come wake me up in the morning. Yet another Sayori statement I don't quite know how to respond to. Okay, everyone. Why don't we share the poems you wrote now? Yay! Nice, I can't wait to read yours. Same. I feel to sound enthusiastic, but Sayori still trots away to retrieve her poem. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I couldn't really find much inspiration, since I never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monika enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monika wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monika's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Sayori mulls over my poem like she's trying to get she's trying to glean some deeper meaning from it. If she can find one, she's a better person than me. Your poem is really abstract, Midas. 20 random words. 20 random words. Well, that's because I was trying to get all the Sayori words. Comb the recesses of the human experience? Like comparing it to you had no idea what you were doing, didn't you? I had no idea what I was doing. That's okay, Midas. Your first try is always awkward. You should see my poem. My first poem, rather. I think I nearly broke Monika. Like you damaged Monika's brain or something, or emotionally. Like you emotionally damaged Monika. Because I'd be more concerned with that. But maybe I should take a look at it. It might help show me what direction to go in so I can improve. I put it in my room somewhere. I see. Do we get to see it though? Like, do we get to actually see it once we invade Sayori's room and hopefully she's not hanged? Gone forever? Perhaps some future archaeologist will stumble upon it 100 years from now. Anyway, here's my poem for today, Midas. I hope you like it. Okay, nothing... Wait. Dear sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning, it makes me feel like you missed me. You seem my forward to help me out of bed, making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above, the sky is blue. It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever, but I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Is it just me or is it different? Like, I'm pretty sure that the title is the same, but the poem itself and the last line, that's definitely the same. But this, I think it's not like, I think it's new. Pretty cool. I should check that out later. Sayori. Yes, Midas? I think I know what a poem means, or what this poem means. You do? Yes, Sayori, I do. Well, you waited until this morning to do it, didn't you? What? You woke up, realized you forgot to write it, and wrote about what was right in front of you. I'm right, aren't I? Oh, yeah, sure, definitely. Sayori. You got me there, Midas. Still, it's a very nice poem. Especially since you write it on such short notice. It's a very Sayori poem. Childlike. Anything positive. Like a child. That's like a bundle of sunshine. It's like what the title says. And that's why I like it. I especially like the last line. That was a tough one. I had eggs and toast. Really? You were late for school again, but you still had time to make and eat breakfast? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You wouldn't want me to come to school cranky, won't you? I mean, there are some people, me included, who don't eat breakfast. At least during the days when face-to-face classes were still a thing. Now, I have the liberty to eat breakfast all the time. I suppose not. Anyway, I'll work on my poem less abstract tonight. And you remember to write yours tonight, okay, Sayori? You got it, Midas. You're gonna be really impressed by my poem tomorrow. I've got something to say, Sayori. I really like your writing style. It kinda reminds me of my own. Nah, not necessarily. It's like a mix of Yuri's and Natsuki's. Like, the words are simple, but they have like a deeper meaning than it says. Although that's not as deep as Yuri's poems, because Yuri really likes that symbolism, which I myself really like. Oh wow! Thanks, Natsuki. That means a lot coming from a poem writing expert like you. Well, you haven't read my poem yet, but it is pretty good. I especially like how you were conveying so much with simple language. I suspect this might be just about someone, if you catch my drift. Oh? What makes you think that, Natsuki? Oh, please. Go through my blinds. You miss me? I trust you too? This is about a guy, isn't it? Oh? Well, I mean, unless she swings the other way around, if you catch my drift. Uh-huh. Sayori's got a crush. My voice cracked. Who is it? Do I know him? He's standing right in front of you. Presuming that we're in front of them, considering that we're seeing the both of them. Where are we though? Are we playing through Sayori's shoes? I mean, okay, that was kinda obvious. Well, I never said... It isn't Midas, is it? Midas? Oh well, we've been friends for so long. That would be kinda weird. So, would you say Midas is more of a bother to you then? I don't know if I'd put it quite that way. Why do you ask, Natsuki? You aren't interested in him, are you? What? That dummy? Of course not. Well, that's too bad. You two would make a cute couple. Yes! If you're asking me. But this MC, at least in this episode, it's you, Sayori. Whatever. Anyway, here's my poem. Prepare to be amazed. Okay, this didn't change at all. This didn't change at all. Well, what do you think? Ooh, there's a lot more than just a few words. Of course. I knew you'd get it, Sayori. But you seemed like you were building up to something in the end and it didn't happen. That was intentional. I set you up for a rhyme that didn't happen. That snaps you out of the rhythm suddenly. Kinda jarring, isn't it? So you did that on purpose? Wow! You really are great with poems. Ha! Of course. So why did you do that? Well, sometimes people around you can do incredible things. And you feel pretty small by comparison. So I wanted to express some of that frustration in poem form. I mean, not that I understand that feeling or anything. Oh yeah! Me neither. I was just assuming, of course. Yeah, assuming. I totally get it. There's a certain kind of feeling... There's a certain disturbing feeling that they're hiding their troubles with each other, considering that it's just the two of them. And they're supposed to be friends, aren't they? I mean, there are some secrets that friends keep from other friends, but I'm pretty sure when it comes to your life troubles, it's pretty okay to tell your friends. So anyway, by keeping the language simple, you can express so much with the wordplay. Say a lot with a little. Wow! That's really neat, Natsuki. I can't wait to read more of your poems. Haha, anytime, Sayori. Okay, it's now for Yuri. This poem is pretty interesting, Sayori. Yeah, I don't have a lot of time to write it, so it came up a bit short. But even still, there's a lot to unpack here. The way you use glowing and kissing in tandem with the morning. And the end with I trust you? I suspect trust isn't the word you're looking for. Why, Sayori? Do I suspect you have your eyes set on a special so even Yuri gets it? Wow! I mean, I say that because I think among all the three girls, I think Yuri would be the most... Like, she won't admit that she has feelings for someone. Not in a tsundere kind of way, like Natsuki, but more of a... Because I'm this shrinking violet, I just want to be with myself, so if I have feelings for someone, I won't confess. Something like that. Do tell! Well... it doesn't necessarily have to be about that. I mean, I finished it this morning and I was hungry for breakfast. By the way, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's just the night making me chattery or this is just me being chatty in general. Well, if I'm reading this correctly, breakfast may not be all you were hungry for. Yuri! That's out of character for you! Oh? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Actually, even if it is kind of out of character for Yuri, I like it. You know, step out of line or anything. No. No, Yuri, that was kind of a shock, but yeah, pretty interesting of Yuri. It's kind of nice to see a different side of you. Yuri Unleashed! Well, we all have to cut loose sometimes, I suppose. Anyway, I suppose I'll let go for now, but you must share your secret with us soon. Sure thing, Yuri. Alright, it's time to show you my poem. Ghost Under the Light. Okay, this one didn't change, and I'm assuming that what I said about the poem, like with Sayori's poem changing, either it did change because it's Sayori centered, like this route is Sayori centered, or I just don't remember Dear Sunshine. Because this, well, this I remember a lot, considering the amount of Yuri mods I've played. A ghost? Is that like one of your scary novels, Yuri? No, Sayori. This isn't about an actual ghost. It's about isolation. Oh? How so? You see, Sayori, the speaker is clinging to the last bit of her safe space, afraid to reach out to others. But soon, the light of her safe space will fade, as all the other lights have. The speaker is unsure of herself, but soon she will be forced to either make a connection or be eternally lonely. This was what I was saying about Yuri being the most secretive about her feelings, so it was kind of out of character for her to express that to Sayori, like what she just said to Sayori. Oh? That's so sad! Well, I suppose it is, but don't be too upset. There is hope for the speaker of the poem. I'm sure she will be able to make a connection. Perhaps she has met someone already that she can connect with. Ooh! You know, Yuri? It almost like This poem has something to do with you. And the way you are talking now, it's almost like there is a special someone for you too. Maybe you are hungry yourself. Sayori, not sure they won't suspect. I am a lady after all. What's that supposed to mean? Sayori unleashed. Well, Sayori, I can say with absolute certainty that your poetry writing skills have improved. Oh wow, that means a lot to me, Monika. Well, I'm glad. I've really enjoyed helping you out and watching your poetry get better. For example, I noticed the way your poem plays with morning imagery to describe something else. Or someone else for that matter. Oh? What do you mean, Monika? Well, the way you humanize the sun, combined with bits like it's a secret, lead me to think that maybe this poem isn't really about how happy you are to see the sun. Perhaps our vice president has herself a little crush? Well, looks like I'm right. Come on, Sayori. Who is this lucky guy? Well, you know, not everything has to have a hidden meaning. Too bad. Literally everyone saw it, apart from MC. Maybe it was just about getting up in the morning. Sure, Sayori. Just by this, you sure talk about him a lot. Well, he's my friend forever. So of course I'd talk about him a lot. That doesn't mean anything though. If you say so, Sayori. Alright, I read your poem, now go ahead and read mine. Okay. Oh? Your poems are always so good, Monika. Thanks for the compliment, Sayori. So this poem is a good example of what I was talking about earlier. It isn't literally about a hole in the wall, it's about a person coming to a realization about their life. Through the metaphorical hole, the speaker sees an image of a different life. The final lines of the poem switched up the perspective, revealing that the speaker is trapped in the life they currently lead, and are intrigued by what it could possibly be. That's deep. So how much of yourself is in this poem? I realized that despite all the time we spent together in the literature club, I don't really know much about you. Well, I don't really offer up myself up. Oh no. Why am I scared? I don't really offer up much about myself. I'm a pretty private person. But since you ask, Sayori, yes, there is a bit of me in this poem. Sometimes I feel like I don't have control over parts of my own life, and it frustrates me. But I found that writing poetry is a good way to release some of those anxieties. I'm really hoping that the title being Another Moment with You would just be like another moment with the girls that died, including Monika, who technically died in Act 3, and not something like, hey, I rebooted the game, let's have another moment with you. Something like that. I'm sorry you feel that way, Monika. You're too nice of a person to have feelings like that. Hey, life has ups and downs. That's just the way things are. Some days are good, some days aren't. I think this poem just happened to come from a day that wasn't so great. But there's hope. Hope? Isn't the hope represented by the guy looking in? Perhaps, Sayori. Perhaps. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. I can't help but feel the others are judging me silently for my less than average writing ability. Maybe if they're just being nice. There's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club after all. I sigh. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Was that a bit more difficult than you thought it would be, Midas? You guys make it look so easy. But there are a lot of things to consider when composing a poem. Don't worry about it, it'll get easier. Yeah, I had a hard time at first as well, but Monika has helped me so much. Well, so I think adding some change of focus has really helped your poetry shine. Change of focus? What do you mean, Monika? Well, Midas, what I mean by focus is that the poem will change depending on how the subject is viewed. You see, in Eastern poetry, the poem is often delivered in a vacuum with the subject itself. But in Western poetry, the poem is often delivered by the composer, so the composer's thoughts and feelings are included in the poem itself. By injecting your own voice into the poem, you change the tone and overall effect. That's actually kind of interesting, Monika. Especially about the Eastern poetry bit, because I'm not that into poetry. Eastern poetry, rather. You mentioned Western poetry, and Sayori... And yesterday, Sayori mentioned that you were pretty well versed in American literature. How did you get to be such an expert in that subject? Well, you see, and Midas liked my poem too, you know. He even told me he was impressed by it. Oh no, not this again. That doesn't sound so good. Yikes, Natsuki suddenly stands up. Oh? I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress her new member, Yuri. This would be pretty interesting considering that we're taking a Sayori route, so how will Sayori perceive this? Eh? That's not what I... Yuri stands up as well. Maybe you should that Midas appreciates my advice more than he appreciated yours. How did you know that he appreciated my advice more? That he didn't. He did. Are you that full of yourself? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy. Is everyone okay? Well, you know what? Yikes. Natsuki! That was a little out of the line. This doesn't involve you! I don't like fighting, guys. Suddenly, both girls turned towards me as if they noticed I was standing there. Are we gonna make a choice this time around? He's trying to make me look bad. That's not true. He started it. If she can get over herself and learn to appreciate that simple writing is more effective, then this wouldn't happen in the first place. What's the point in making your proposal convoluted for no reason? I mean, you should jump out to the reader, not force them to have to figure it out. How can you explain that to her? Wait, there's a reason we have so many deep and expressive words in our language. It's the only way to convey complex feelings and meaning the most efficiently. Avoiding them is only unnecessarily limiting yourself. It's also a waste. You understand that, right, Midas? Well... How did I get dragged into this in the first place? It's not like I know anything about writing. Natsuki. Natsuki glares at me, drying up any words I had in my mouth. So I instead turn to Yuri. Yuri? But Yuri's expression is so defensive that I can't bring myself to say anything to her. Sayori! Eh? Yeah? Everyone's fighting is making Sayori uncomfortable! How can you two keep fighting when you know you're making your friend feel like this? How? Midas? Well, that's her problem. This isn't about her. I agree. It's unfair for others to interject their own feelings into our conflict. Okay, this is new. Yeah, unless Sayori wants to tell Yuri what a stuck-up jerk she's been. She would never. It's your immaturity that's made her upset in the first place. Excuse me? Are you listening to yourself? This is exactly why... Stop. Stop where you're going, Natsuki. Stop where you're going. Exactly why nobody likes. Thank you. Thank you. Stop. Okay, now I'm pretty comfortable now. Natsuki, Yuri, you guys are my friends. I just want everyone to get along and be happy. My friends are wonderful people, and I love them because of their differences. Natsuki's poems, they're amazing because they give so many feelings with just a few words. And Yuri's poems are amazing because they paint a beautiful picture in your head. Everyone's so talented. So why are we fighting? Because... well... also... Natsuki's cute, and there's nothing wrong with that. And Yuri's boobs are the same as they always were. Big and beautiful. For a literature club, we sure seem to talk about boobs a lot. Sayori. Sayori stands triumphantly. Monika stands behind her with a bewildered expression. I'll make some tea. Yuri versus all. Natsuki sits down with a blank expression on her face, staring at nothing. So, is this why Sayori is vice president? I whisper to Monika. She nods in return. To be honest, I might come up as a good leader and I can organize things. But I'm not very good with people. We're in the same boat, Monika. I couldn't bring myself to interject. As president, that's kind of embarrassing of me. Nah. It's not like I can blame you. I wasn't able to say anything either. Well, I guess that just means Sayori is amazing in her own ways, isn't she? You could say that. She doesn't always show it, but I think Sayori knows a lot more about people than she lets on. I see. Taking care of her, okay? You can count on me, Monika, although we didn't catch her drift. Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you feel about sharing poems? It was a lot of fun. Well, I'd say it was worth it. It was alright. Well, mostly. Midas, how about you? I'd say the same. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone. Awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you learn something from your friends too. So your poems will turn out even better. Midas! Ready to walk home? Sayori beams at me. It truly has been a while since Sayori and I have spent this much time together. I can't really say I'm not enjoying it either. As we head home, I decide to ask Sayori about the events at the club today. So, Sayori, do Natsuki and Yuri normally fight like that? No! In fact, that's the first time I've seen them argue so much. They have pretty different tastes, so they don't always agree, but they never gotten at each other's throats that way. I wonder what could have riled them up so much. I have a pretty good idea, actually. What's our idea? Ooh, you don't like them, do you? I swear they aren't like that all the time. I mean, you wouldn't know since you joined and all, but still. Don't worry, Sayori, I'll act them both. I was just concerned is all. Good. I mean, I noticed you were reading with both of them today, so I figured you liked them. Well, by reading with them, I got to know them a little better. I can see why you're all friends. See? This is what I was talking about. Getting out there and meeting new people and not being a shut-in. This is great! Well, I didn't expect to become the protagonist of a harem anime either. Are we aware? The situation I'm in seems to have completely passed over Sayori's head. Not that this is all bad. Well, here's my house. I'm gonna make sure my poem for tomorrow is even better than today's. Have a good evening, Midas. You too, Sayori. That night. What do you mean? Whoa. Wait. Do you think I would be elated to hear that? Don't take this the wrong way. I mean, this is an amazing thing you've done for me, but this is also sudden. Especially for you to call me in the middle of the night to tell this grand plan that exists for me, apparently without my input. Of course I could say no. Did you ever think about that? What's happening? No, I'm sorry I overreacted. Look, let me talk to some people at school tomorrow. What's happening? What is this? And I'll look for your letter. What letter? Hello? Hello? Lost the connection. Ah. What was I going to call this one? Dreams of Love and Literature? This is another mod, right? Crumple. Looks like love isn't in the cards for Monika. I wish someone could save me. Is another choice too much to ask?